Hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to today's Correspondences for Work and Magic. Um, let's see what I do with my bind rune here. What I want to do today is do a bind rune. I like the rune divination I had over there on the forecast, and I include it here on the Correspondences that I do over here on Patreon and on Medium. But basically, so that's what I think I want to do here. I usually prefer meditation on Mondays just to try to get things aligned and get started for the week. Sometimes the weekend, can be really crazy and all of that. And we're just coming off of a full moon. So it makes sense to me to do that. But then as I'm looking at this divination, I'm thinking, well, maybe not. Anyway, the moon governs today, magic today, and magic favorability is very good. Let's see. Let me see if there's anything else. Fire, earth, and water are the strongest elements today. Air is still having a lesser effect. The rune divination is Rado. Rado. There's Rado. Nothes, Norn rune of the future. The friction within to manifest, and Kenaz, or the torch, or the light of spirit. Let's see. Basically, Rado establishes a shared integrated path with others. Nothes invokes the friction within to manifest whatever we desire. And Kenaz, spirit's torch that lights our path, shows us the way forward. So again, I think that, it's how do we stay aligned with others right now when there's so much controversy, and the Delta variant is apparently really bad. And I think the CDC is probably just about to recommend that we go back to wearing masks when we're out and about around people. The transmissibility is worse, and the contagion is worse. It's not fun. Even breakthrough can happen even if you're vaccinated. So I don't know what this is, and I don't think anybody else does either at this point. We just know from the effects of it and what they're seeing in hospitals that this is a really serious variant. And so, we can sit and gripe about how we got here, and trust me, I do plenty of that, but I'm not going to today. I'm just going to say there's got to be some way to energetically affect other people in a way that's indirect. Because if you get into it with anybody, then you could be harmed. And so you don't want to do that. You could have a very difficult experience, or they might attack you. So you just don't want to do that. But if you can carry something with you energetically, that might send out, that kind of energy. So this is what I'm recommending. Let's see if there's anything else we need to be worried about. The mansion, the moon's the 27th. That increases harvest, income, healing, obstructs buildings, causes danger at sea, creates annoyance and mischief. Well, I suppose you could view it that way, as creating annoyance and mischief by trying to suggest to people that they really ought to be wearing a freaking mask. But I think that's what they're going to start. I suspect that's what the CDC is ultimately going to do, at least temporarily, till we get through all of this. And then there's another one, Lambda. I guess we're going to go through the Greek alphabet or something, but anyway, that's what's going on there. So this is what I'm suggesting. If we use the runes from today's rune divination to create a bind rune to remain on a shared path that also assists the witch to understand the reciprocity involved in self-expression. Now, that's a fancy way of saying whether or not you believe in the rule of three, that essentially warns that whatever you send out comes back to you threefold. See, I'm not Wiccan, so I don't necessarily believe that specifically, but it's a fact that the intention we cast back that the intention that a witch casts will come back in some fashion. If you're nice to somebody, you get a positive response. It comes back to you in a positive way, right? If you're helpful, maybe one day your neighbor, or you hear a knock on the door and there's a rose in a vase. And you see, that is what your positive thing that you did for your neighbor is coming back to you in a positive way. So you see, we see this reciprocity, we see this cause and effect all the time. And so when a witch casts a spell, you want to make sure it's not going to blow back on you. So your motives have to be pure. If you're going to try to influence somebody's behavior, then in doing so, you're making a judgment, are you not? And so that's what I mean about being very careful about what you send out. So if you combine Rado, Kenaz, and Nathis into a bind rune, you can carry that with you as a talisman or as a charm. It can look something like that. And all I did was I drew Rado and then just extended this part here. And so we have Kenaz forward and reversed at that point, you see, and then we also have it skewed here and here and here. And so you have the light of spirit purifying your intentions, right? Of just wanting everybody to go back to their natural state, which is harmony. Okay, that's all we're doing with this. Now, here's an interesting thing you can do. I like to take and make strong infusions, herbal infusions, that have to do with my intention. And then I like to maybe, if I'm going to, say, draw this on a piece of paper, for example, I would make it smaller, right? And then I would take, before I did it, I would soak it in that infusion, lay it out, let it dry, and when I could indeed draw on it and have it not, run or not work or, ruin the paper or something, so you're going to want it to be dry. But if you want to take some mugwort and make a strong infusion of mugwort and then soak the paper, or, if you're going to just, use a small disc or even, a bigger one, of wood, you can take and you can soak this. I mean, not for very long, just get it in it, and then let it dry. Now with the wood, you can probably draw on it sooner than you will be able to draw on the paper, because it's going to soak in better. If you want to wood burn it, you want to just draw it on, lightly and then wood burn it, you could probably do it too. It's not like you got to wait an eternity, right? So if you do this within casting a circle or protected space, then you're probably going to want to do that infusion beforehand so that you've already got it ready. And so that within the circle or sacred space, you can then draw out your bind rune, okay? However you want to do it. This is the way I did it because it just seemed to be simple, right? But you can do whatever you want to as far as the bind rune. Get as flowery, colorful, whatever you want to. If there's another herbal infusion that seems to fit better with this, but see, what I'm trying to do here is to assist Kenaz and also Nathis, because that's Norn energy, so that's higher self energy. I'm trying to increase the higher self energy in it, so that it guards your whole intention for why you're doing it. In other words, you're doing it from the standpoint of spirit instead of ego, right? So that's what I'm saying. Again, this is just a really simple way to do it. You can do it any way you want to. You don't have to do an infusion if you don't want to. You can just draw the bind rune out, carry it with you. But I just think that if you use the infusion, you're infusing the disc of wood or the paper or whatever you're using, right? If you wanted to use, another thing you could use is polymer clay, and then you can bake it in the oven after you draw your bind rune on it. Well, what you can do there, before you stick it in the oven, you could do the infusion and then just sort of paint it on with a paintbrush and then cook it into the clay. That would be another way that you could do it. I like using polymer clay for things. I also like using small votive candles and letting them liquefy, heat them up and liquefy, and then you can drop different things into it. The other thing you can do is you can scribe the candle with it too. So I mean, there's various ways that you can employ a talisman. It doesn't have to be carried on your person, but it can be. And the cool part about using the polymer clay, if you stick a little hole through it, you can put a little, string or hemp cord or whatever through it and then wear it around your neck if you want to do it that way. If you don't want to carry it in your pocket or whatever, maybe you don't have clothes that have pockets, and so it just makes more sense to do it that way. You could also drill a small hole in your little bind rune. If you're using wood, you could also drill a small hole in that and wear it around your neck as well. So just something to think about here on a Monday. Another way of working with stuff like this, doing this, infusing the herbal essences into it, really is more charm-like and it'd be like similar to carrying a mojo bag or gree bag. It's a charm, basically. So I just like things like that. I like tangible stuff that I can use to help me to remember what I'm doing. So anyway, that's it. We'll talk tomorrow. You guys have a good day and be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.